Who's going to pay for it? Education is not free by far. I believe that if you want to have free education, then you got to make it free and say there is no tax dollars to pay the teachers. There is no tax dollars to pay for any school supplies or supplies that they need. There's no need to even have a monetary value. There's no need to say that when you educate a child, let's say, for example, in mathematics, that there's no such thing as mathematics. I was at church Sunday and I heard a sermon, and a pastor speak about this. The new mathematics. The question that would come to anybody's mind would be, what's wrong with the old mathematics? What's wrong with 2 plus 2 to equal 4? What's wrong with that idea? Figuring it out that way. Why do they have to have such a formula to figure out that 2 plus 2 equals 4? In my day, they came up with this other thing called algebra and new math, and said that the old math is no longer good. And yes, public education listens to some of these idiot mathematical scholars. Sorry, I am a scholar myself, but not in mathematics. I happen to have a degree that says I'm a scholar, so we can answer that question right there. And the thing that you've got to look at when the education, with mathematics especially, what's wrong with 2 plus 2 equaling 4? Hillarry Clinton thinks there is. Hillarry Clinton thinks that you should go with 2 blank equals 4. The sum of 2 plus another numeral equals 4. That's what she wants you to deal with. And come up with the difference there. Well, let's look at this other perspective in free education. I happen to know that private education, homeschooling, charter, and school choice is the better way to educate. The free education really comes from parents educating a child. That's the right way. But Hillary Clinton doesn't want you, neither do liberals, Democrats, socialists, or even communists. They want you to have the government do it for you. To free up parents to do one thing: pay for the free education through tax dollars. Well, let's put it this way. If you think that Hillary Clinton should be president of the United States with this free education idea, you are the biggest stupid idiot moron in the world. You are blind as a bat. You don't listen to anything. And you holler and scream because there's no equality. Well, to tell you the truth, the reason why I say you are dumber than a box of rocks is because you are as dumb as a box of rocks to vote for Hillary Clinton in this idea. Being a true conservative and one that looks at the economy, that's not my specialty, by the way, but being one that does look at the economy and has figured it out through sites and sources, that when you talk about free education and saying that everybody's got to go to public schools to be educated, I would rather hand out coloring books and say start coloring pictures, because all public schools are, and this is the real definition of a public school, a glorified babysitter. That's it. Kids aren't going to learn a thing in public schools. They're just going to be glorifiedly babysat. They're not going to learn how to read. They're not going to learn how to write. They're not going to learn how to even do mathematics. They're not going to learn how to think, because that's what the communists like. Now to compare what I said, Hillarry Clinton got her idea from communism. She stole the idea. She stole the communist idea and called it freedom and liberty, with the word mandate, demand, requirement, force. There is no choice in there whatsoever. This is why I happen to truly believe in school choice. Happen to believe that the parents have the unalienable right by their creator to educate a child as they feel free to do so. That's called freedom and liberty. When you look at what Hillarry Clinton comes up with, you could say it in one word: communism. Pure 100% unadulterated communism. There is no freedom of doing it according to your creator, because the creator is called communist. The creator decides to say, let me backtrack that a little bit. Communism says that we are the creator of all things. We are the controller of all things. Therefore, being a liberal, as the communists are, and the Democrats are communist alongside, they just don't like the name communist, say that we are the ones, and you've got to do what our unalienable rights as the creator. That's a small c creator, by the way. It's not the large c creator, as you see in the Declaration of Independence. And if you look at freedom and liberty with free education, I would like to ask each and every one of you to do one thing. I don't care if you got to talk to a liberal. And don't call him a moron, by the way, because that won't get you very far. That'll get you arrested, probably. But talk to your Congress people and ask them, what is the definition of free education all about? You're going to get all kinds of response. I guarantee it, the liberals and Democrats say, well, it's free to everybody that goes into public schools. Or in this case, college education is one thing that we're talking about. We're going to make it free. Nancy Pelosi would say this much: there is no cost then. No cost to the parents. In other words, Nancy forgets about one thing. And Nancy Pelosi is the biggest moron that I have ever seen up on Capitol Hill. Thank God she's from California, because it's proven fact that all Californians are this way. And if you're a California right now and think you're a conservative, guess what? The Communist Party, or the Democrats, and the liberals say, you're not free to make a choice. We'll make it for you. Nancy Pelosi would say, well, yes, it's free. The government will pay for it. In that case, we'll just print the money to pay. And when you print money, what you're doing is deflating the value of the American dollar to the point where, if you remember Greece and the euro, Greece ran out of money, went bankrupt. Matter of fact, the country should be bankrupt. They shouldn't have any money. That's called capitalism. Too bad. You don't have the money? Too bad. You can't pay for it? Too bad. You're bankrupt. That's exactly what it means. You're in debt. You're not debt-free. You have no freedom and you have no liberty. You have no right to call yourself free and liberty according to the Democrats, liberals, communism, and socialists, especially in the area of education. So if you look at the public schools as glorified babysitters, then what do you need a nanny for if you're rich or even poor? You might as well say teachers no more than a nanny. Let's get the coloring books out to you adults who think that it's fun to color because it releases your stress. It comes from public schools, by the way, that idea. It's good to live with stress. I live with it every day. I love it. I thrive on it. I thrive on living my life with stress. That way I can live longer. Interesting how you put it, Terry. You live longer with stress. It's not good to be stress-free. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes my nerves are rattled and stuff like that, but that doesn't stay very long. But college education for free college education. How do you pay for it? That's a kind of unique thing. That's the same thing as Obamacare. How do you pay for insurance? Who's going to pay for it? Of course, as everybody knows, the taxpayers are. Who's the taxpayers? Everybody that pays an income tax, period, end of sentence. Or property tax, period, end of sentence. Or death tax, period, end of sentence. That's who the taxpayers are. So if you look at free education, what's Hillarry Clinton saying? Communism. Neat word. Look it up sometime. Karl Marx wrote the book about it. Same ideas came from his book. Hillarry Clinton probably didn't read Karl Marx, but I could guarantee you the same stupid ideas come from Karl Marx. She had to hear about free education someplace. Let's put it this way. Her grandchildren are slaves to communism right now until we get rid of the Democrats. Best way to do that is to vote them out of office and say, dummy, you were wrong. Dummy, why did you do that? To get rid of freedom and liberty. That's what you tell a Democrat. The word Democrat means dummy. Means idiot, fool, imbecile. I could think of a few other words too, but let's be a little bit more polite on this one. Not politically correct, but let's be polite. In a public school system, you gotta be politically correct. You notice I called myself a cripple. That's fine. I don't mind. Doesn't bother me. But let's do it this way. With about 90 seconds left on the clock, we gave you plenty of information about an imbecile by the name of Hillarry Clinton, running for president of the United States of America. Let's all pray that God will forgive her soul and the fact that she will become a believer in Jesus Christ as her Lord and personal Savior. Just like every non-believer should at least look into it, should examine this. And every non-believer should think about it. Likewise, us believers should too. And if you want to understand education, turn to your Lord and personal Savior, Jesus Christ, and make Him your personal Savior. I say that to both believers and non-believers alike. I also say this much too. We're getting close to the end of our program. And I'm going to say it to both non-believers and believers alike, those that are enemies of God and those who are not. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you Peace, the peace.